Right here in Sydney with Tim Tszyu. Tim, had a good look to see you train today, mate. You look good.
Yeah.
Any changes in this camp?
Yeah, I think just strategic, being able to work on game plans, So yeah, it's been a lot of work.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you look a little bit lighter, a little bit faster on your feet heading into this fight?
Could be. Yeah, could be. I don't want to. Last time I was just throwing haymakers, This time it's going to be a bit smarter than throwing just haymakers.
What about, I heard you mention up there you've had longer to prepare for Fundora. Did you find it difficult, his height in that first fight? Because in those first 2 rounds, you looked like you had his measure, but what's your thoughts on that?
I remember feeling him and not feeling that height difference. I remember it was hard to land a jab on him just due to his distance, and that's where the height plays up. So I think on that part, yeah, then yes.
What how would you describe your mindset heading into this fight? Do or die?
Had the same feeling with Tony Harrison. This feeling of just that hunger of make or break it type moment. I never had that feeling after. It's never been the same, but this is the same feeling.
Basing yourself here in Australia, what's the thinking behind that? What benefits do you get from training here?
Home, being able to bring boys over. I flew boys down anyway, so we've got the sparring caliber to be working on. But yeah, just being home, I've got everything here. I come there for fight night and I'll be sweet.
Looking back on the past 18 months, what's the biggest lesson you learned about yourself or, yourself as a boxer, as an athlete? How do you reflect on the past 18 months?
Don't take things too seriously. No one really cares. Just keep going at it for yourself, and just keep striving for more, no matter what. That's how I see life.
So you feel like you haven't reached your peak as a boxer yet?
Nah, there's always that one. You always got to chase that shadow of yours, and it's never attainable, and you always got to keep reaching for it.
On the card with a guy like Manny Pacquiao, childhood dream for yourself, fighting at MGM. Do you think about those things when you're sort of doing your road runs, training here?
No. Yeah, no. I feel like I belong at that stage. This is where I'm at home. I'm most comfortable. So the fact that I'm living the young childhood, the young child that I was, would have been like, this is crazy. What are you talking about? But now this is where I feel at peace.
Prospect of becoming a two-time world champion, how does that make you feel?
Sounds good to me. Two-time.
I heard you say up there you haven't thought about what's next, but you thought about the cars. What sort of car would you buy when you win this fight?
Go for like either an old school muscle car, which I've always loved, big American muscle top guy, but also don't mind the 1970s drop top Rolls Royces.
Yeah, how much should one of them retail?
One of those sounds pretty good.
The main event, Manny Pacquiao. How do you see that fight play out?
I think Barrios wins. I think young, and it's hard with age. But I think if anyone was going to do it, Manny Pacquiao's the man.
2 weeks, bit over 2 weeks to the fight. Head over there on Friday. What's the next couple of weeks look like for yourself?
Yeah, I'll do some sparring, and that last week that I'll be there, acclimatise. What else? Go to sauna, steam room, go in the jacuzzi for a weekend. Do some shopping. Apparently Vegas got good stuff, so I need to go back visit the good old shops. And then sparring, and then fight week, and it's go time after that.
On a personal note, mate, an uncle now as well. Thoughts on that?
I haven't been able to let it digest yet, just due to the fact that my mentality has been so like that. But I hope to be able to once I come back from America, be able to let it dissolve and digest and meet the little one, and it'll be a cool feeling.
Nikita Tszyu's return, August 20th. You must be excited to see him back in the ring.
Always gives me nerves. So, I'd be lying to you if I said I was excited. I'm nervous, as always.
There's talk about him and Zaraf at the back end of the year. Good step up for Nikita as he sort of progresses through the ranks.
Yeah, if he wants to get to the top and work his way up, I think that's the name, you know. And that's a credible opponent for Nikita.
Last one, just sort of think about the kids you inspire, you know, doing the things you're doing, those sort of kids. How does that make you feel that you're a role model to, I guess, the next generation?
It's cool. It's cool, man, honestly. And I was a kid that was inspired by certain athletes, and I was one of the kids that was watching Manny Pacquiao waving, and then now I'm doing the same thing, you know, and that means a lot to me, you know. And hopefully we can produce another world champion from an inspiration of myself.
Nice one. See you in Vegas, bro.
You know it.
Weeks, we know the story. You've actually had a preparation to fight this guy.
Yeah.
Just take us through that preparation, the
This one?
sparring, and we've seen the fight.
Yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, you know. A lot of sparring, a lot of game planning, strategizing with coach, flying different boys in, also working with much taller boys. You know, you're also preparing for a southpaw, so from to a lefty. So yeah, it's been a lot of work.
How much do you review the last fight to use this? Because before the knock, obviously, and even past that,
Yeah.
it did look like you'd worked out a way to break him down. But conversely, he's going to know a lot more about you. So,
Yeah.
your thoughts on that sort of side?
Yeah, we both know a lot about each other, you know. We both went to life and death together there, you know. It wasn't a one-way road for him. He was copping a few shots as well, so a lot to learn. It's a game of strategy, you know. We both come back, and we both know each other, and it's who does the homework better, and this is it.
Career-wise, life or death?
Huh?
Career-wise, is this sort of life or death?
Everything's life and death in this sport, you know. Kill or be killed.
You both took the last fight on short notice, but I imagine it's your big advantage, you know, preparing over 10 weeks compared to you've got a fighting opponent up here, but he's used to fighting opponents your height. So you imagine it's your advantage, is it?
Yeah, I feel like that part is a bit more on my part, just for the fact that he was preparing for Bohachuk at that time, who's an Eastern European fighter, sort of similar style like myself, you know. So he was getting in that work, and I went to a completely different style. But yeah, no excuses. This time around, it's no stone unturned.
Last time you went to Vegas, you were going there as the undefeated champ from Australia, sort of had something to prove. How do you feel, or how do you see it this time around?
Yeah, it's a lot of lessons learned since that time. More mature, more comfortable in his own skin fighter, and not just a fighter, but as a person. And it's a whole different feeling and aspect in this towards the last time. The last time I had momentum. This time coming around, I feel like I got the momentum back, and I got more to prove. And the fact that when I rewrite this chapter, it's going to be one hell of a story, and that's the leading motivation right there.
Is that more to prove to yourself or the fight fans, and particularly US fight fans?
It's more about the story. Look, the US fight fans, they know, they understand what I'm all about, and that I bring the action and all of that stuff. It's just proving it in my story, you know, not to anyone really, but just proving it.
MGM Grand, Manny Pacquiao, like this is sort of childhood dreams.
Doesn't get bigger, you know.
Can you speak to that a little bit? I know Manny's obviously you're a huge fan of him.
Yeah. Look, I think everyone dreams of certain things, certain feelings as a young kid. You know, maybe as a young kid you thought you're going to be an astronaut, or you're going to say these ridiculous things, you know. I'm actually living it, you know. I'm living what I said I would do as a young kid when he said certain things that where people would be laughing. But I'm here. I'm living the superhero character, and it's what life's about for me. It should be for everyone, you know.
What does it mean to be on the same card as Manny? Given that you once looked up to him, I think you were what, 2009? You were
2009.
as he walked in.
Miguel Cotto. Yeah, I was that kid up on the top going, Manny, Manny, Manny. And he gave me the little wave, you know. So hopefully I can do that back to the next generation and inspire that next person to be fighting at MGM Grand one day.
Do you feel like you're making up for a lost year too, mate? Like, is it a reset? Like, how do you redemption? What
No,
is
it's
the story like?
look. I think there's no such thing as a successful story without failures, and yeah, a couple bumps in the road doesn't mean you're completely out. But this year is going to be like a vengeance year. That's the word for me. And it started off with Joey Spencer, and it's going to keep on going, keep on rolling.
And how do you find he's holding himself as the champ? Like, there seems to be a different different feel about him this time around.
I've had a whole different feeling towards this whole camp. You know, I've literally paused everything in my life, all the external noise, and just gone like that. You know, and when you have that, it's an unbelievable feeling, because when you're so obsessed with reaching a certain goal, that's all there is in this life for me. So that's all it is for me. It's Fundora by KO.
Is that why you did most of your camp at home?
Yeah, just the comfort of being at home. It's hard to go to Vegas when you're in Australia. You know, it's to be living in Australia. I have everything here. I have it all. The fact that I'm fortunate enough to be able to bring sparring partners down has made it much easier for me. And if I can do it here, go there for the business part, or finish my prep here, that's what I intend to do.
Moving forward as well.
Yeah. Look, I was at that stage where I was going to move to the US, and I still wouldn't mind going. Just for the fact that when I was at the Caleb Plant fight, I'm sitting there, and you got like legends coming past you and saying hi, recognizing you, and you're like, we're in Australia here, we're so far away from the rest of the world that you don't really recognize the impact that you're actually making. So the fact that I was in that boxing world, and that's what meant a lot to me. And the fact that if I'm able to go to some big fights there and visit in and out sometimes, that's what I want. But not to live there, man. Australia's home. It's hard to get away from Australia, you know. I got the beach 5 minutes away. I got a Porsche in my backyard, and I got a beautiful wife and a dog at home. What else do I need? You know?
Cool. Thanks, man.